Excuse me. What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Excuse me. Sorry, I got something in my throat. Let me take a drink real quick. My bad. Allergies. All right, welcome to the channel. Today, we are going to cover Mount Hermon. So, there's a rumor that basically Mount Hermon is where Lucifer and all the fallen angels fell to earth. And there's definitely something going on up there. There's a UN outpost up there, and literally they will not let anybody up on the top of that mountain. And they have it all like blocked off and hidden. So today we're just we're gonna look over a few things and see what we can get up to. All right, let me get this set up.
On the lofty summit of Mount Hermon, situated in Israel, the intrepid British explorer Sir Charles Warren stumbled upon an ancient rectangular temple in the year 1869. This temple stands as the highest of its kind in the ancient world, towering at an impressive altitude of 9,232 feet above sea level. Within the confines of this temple, Warren made a remarkable discovery: a limestone pillar, possibly the sole surviving extra-biblical and pagan memorial stone dedicated to the enigmatic fallen angels known as the Watchers. According to the apocryphal Book of Enoch, these celestial beings made a solemn pact among...
What's up, whoever's tuning in? We're covering Mount Hermon today. There's always been a rumor that that's where Lucifer they left. Well, they'll see it later.
...themselves and imparted forbidden celestial knowledge to humanity. Mount Hermon, a prominent mountain range spanning across Israel, with its summit extending into Syria and Lebanon, holds significant geographical and historical importance. At 2,814 meters above sea level, it claims the title of the highest point in Syria and hosts the highest permanently manned United Nations position building, famously known as the Hermon Hotel. The southern slopes of Mount Hermon stretch into the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, boasting a ski resort and captivating natural scenery. The mountain's seasonal snowfalls, which blanket its three peaks for a considerable part of the year, serve as a vital water source for the surrounding regions, feeding into the Jordan River and nurturing lush vegetation below the snowline. The biblical references to Mount Hermon further enhance its mystique and reverence. Described as the eyes of the nation, the mountain has been associated with sacredness, with various...
Hey, what's up, James? How you doing, buddy?
...temples dotting the villages on its slopes. The mountain's Semitic root, Herm, signifying taboo or consecration, and the Arabic term al-Haram, meaning sacred enclosure, reflect its revered status. Mount Hermon's significance in...
What's up, Stefan? I've been good, James. I've been good, buddy. Yeah, Stefan, we're covering Mount
biblical
Hermon.
Narratives.
There's always been rumors that this is where Lucifer and the fallen angels fell to earth. And the UN has some type of weird outpost up there they won't let anybody go to. So we were just looking at it today.
This is profound. It marked the northern limits of the promised land, was praised in Psalms for its grandeur, and possibly served as the backdrop for Jesus Christ's transfiguration, a pivotal event affirming his divine identity. Lieutenant Charles Warren's expeditions in Palestine between 1867 and 1870 played a crucial role in unraveling the region's historical and archaeological landscape.
Stefan said conspiracy hunt ? Laughing emojis. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I guess it could fall under that category. But it's definitely an important mountain for sure, like they're explaining right now. I just like covering different stuff on my channel and just learning. I try to learn something new every day. So I try to cover different stuff and not the same old topics everyone else covers.
His meticulous explorations around Jerusalem and the Temple Mount not only enriched our understanding of ancient topography, but also fueled public interest in archaeological endeavors. Warren's surveying endeavors extended beyond Palestine, encompassing regions like South Africa and the Levant, where he meticulously documented.
If anybody doesn't know, the word Palestine comes from the Philistines. That's where the name comes from.
Archaeological sites and conducted groundbreaking research. Warren's ascent of Mount Hermon in 1869 stands as a testament to his adventurous spirit and dedication to exploration. Scaling the forbidding slopes, he encountered the remnants of an ancient temple complex known as Khazara Antar. The discovery of sacrificial altars.
So basically what was up there first was a temple to Baal, B-A-A-L, the demon god they worshipped back in the day. That was a temple there. A temple to Baal was up there first.
And enigmatic stone pillars engraved with ancient inscriptions fueled Warren's intrigue, prompting him to meticulously document his findings. Among these discoveries was a peculiar limestone.
Actually, I think it's pronounced Baal or something like that. I don't think it's pronounced Baal.
Pillar bearing inscriptions in an ancient language, possibly shedding light on the religious practices and beliefs of the ancient inhabitants. However, the stone's formidable thickness and weight posed a challenge, leading Warren to resort to drastic measures, slicing the marker in half to facilitate its descent. Despite the logistical convenience, this decision took a toll on the ancient artifact, causing it to crack horizontally along its midsection.
Hey bro, did you know that this M1911 is totally legal for everyone to own?
The marker,
Why are there so many ads on a 9-minute video?
Upon its arrival at the British Museum, underwent scrutiny from scholars and translators eager to decipher its enigmatic inscriptions. Despite the damage incurred during the transportation process, the inscription yielded a phrase. According to the command of the greatest and most holy God, those who take the oath proceed from here. While debates ensued regarding the accuracy of the translation due to the stone's compromised condition, the essence of the message remained consistent. Remarkably, photographic evidence of the temple of Khazar Antar, where the marker was discovered, is scarce. Existing photographs from Warren's expedition are rare and elusive, reflecting the enigmatic nature of the site. Today, the temple's location lies concealed beneath the edifice of the United Nations building, with no modern documentation available. However, Warren's meticulous sketches.
But you see, the United Nations pretty much took over the top of the mountain up there, and literally they have it guarded. You cannot get up there. Scientists can't get up there, nobody.
Provide a glimpse into the temple's architectural layout and design. The marker, now housed within the confines of the British Museum under item number 1900-30421, remains veiled from public view for undisclosed reasons. Despite its seclusion, the significance of this ancient relic reverberates.
Yeah, see, even the markers he found with the inscriptions, the public can't even see those. That's pretty strange, too.
Through biblical narratives, particularly in the Book of Enoch and the Genesis account. These sacred texts recount the saga of the Watchers, a group of celestial beings who descended upon Mount Hermon and swore an oath to fulfill their divine mandate. The Book of Genesis alludes to the presence of giants, known as the Nephilim, born of the union between the sons of God and human women. This union, fraught with forbidden desires and celestial intervention.
Could you imagine like a 15, 20-foot just beast like that standing in front of you? There's nothing you could do. I mean, I guess, wow. Oh, that would be crazy, seeing something like that in front of you.
Gave rise to a race of mighty men, shrouded in.
I'm a large man considered for humans nowadays. I'm 6'5" and like 270. I couldn't imagine seeing something like that.
Myth and legend. The Book of Enoch delves deeper into this narrative, chronicling the Watchers' descent from heaven and their subsequent interactions with humanity.
James Pepin said, "My brother, did you read your Bible?" Yes, sir. I've been reading the Bible for almost about 40-something years now, brother.
These celestial beings, led by Semjasa, defied divine decree by indulging in forbidden knowledge and corrupting the fabric of existence. Enoch's accounts of the Watcher's transgressions paint a vivid picture of a world teetering on the brink of chaos. The celestial beings imparted forbidden knowledge to humanity, ranging from the arts of warfare to the mysteries of the cosmos.
Hey James, you go on like you go on like Toronto's Live sometimes, huh? I'm pretty sure I've seen you over there.
As a result, mankind spiraled into a state of moral decay, succumbing to the allure of power.
I think I've seen you and my buddy Jared Bible Talk podcast lives too in his Discord.
And indulging in hedonistic pursuits. The Watcher's actions, fueled by hubris and lust, precipitated a cataclysmic downfall, plunging humanity into darkness. Despite the fantastical nature of these narratives, they resonate with themes of divine intervention.
That's a good question, Stefan. Stefan said, I'm always wondering why only male angels came down to earthly women, and no female angels apparently made out with any male humans. That's a good question. Huh. I don't know. I mean, I could speculate, but I have no clue. Maybe it was a majority of males who rebelled and were kicked out. Who knows? That would maybe be it. Maybe it was a majority males. I don't know.
Moral corruption and apocalyptic reckoning. The tale of the Watcher serves as a cautionary tale, warning against the perils of hubris and the consequences of defying divine decree. Whether viewed as allegory or historical account, the saga of the Watchers captivates the imagination, inviting speculation and interpretation. In addition to his exploratory endeavors, Warren's illustrious career encompassed diverse roles, from serving as Chief Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police during Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee celebrations to commanding divisions in the South African Field Force during the Boer War. His contributions to Freemasonry and his commitment to Masonic research further attest.
Hey, Stefan, you're from South Africa. What was the Boer War? Do you know?
To his multifaceted interests and enduring legacy in exploration and scholarship.
Amen, James.
In conclusion, the story of the Watchers and the enigmatic marker discovered on Mount Hermon transcends the boundaries of time and space. It embodies.
Stefan says, imagine how jealous female angels must have been when they were rejected in favor of human females. Oh, yeah, that would have been a sight.
Is the enduring allure of ancient mysteries and the relentless pursuit of knowledge.
I don't know. I've never heard or read or seen anything that said why there was no female angels that mated with male men. That's like a really good question. I have no clue.
As we unravel the secrets of the past, we are confronted with the complexities of human existence and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. The tale of the Watchers endures as a testament to the indomitable spirit of exploration and the enduring quest for truth.
If you found this video enjoyable, please consider liking and sharing it. Additionally, subscribing to the
All right, now we're going to get into a little bit more of the conspiracy, because this channel, it's a somewhat Christian channel. You guys might have seen it before, but they do a lot of conspiracy too. It's called End Times Productions. They do a ton of conspiracy stuff on here. I might end up actually getting a strike for this, but who cares? Or copyright.
Release, and nobody seems to be talking about it. Have you noticed that Mount Hermon?
I've always said if my channel gets banned, I'll just create a new one. I don't care about views and all that, and I'm not trying to monetize my channel, so I really don't care.
Hermon is popping up in the news again? Well, take a better look, because it is. This.
Oh yeah, Stefan, if you have Discord, my Discord is the same name as my YouTube channel. In case my channel ever does get nuked, you'll be able to figure out what my new channel name is.
This legendary mountain, sitting right where Syria, Israel, and Lebanon meet, has always been a hotbed of mystery. But now something.
All right, Stefan said the Boer War, war between British and Dutch colonialists fighting for independence. There was 2 Anglo-Boer wars. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just didn't know it was called the Boer War. Is that what that must be what the South Africans call it? Because I've never heard heard Boer before, the Boer War. And if I'm pronouncing it right.
Strange is actually brewing again, and it's got serious Book of Enoch vibes to it, in my opinion. So let's dive into this place and why it's currently blowing up again in the news. Because things are about to get strange, stranger than most people even realize. Now, the Book of Enoch talks about the Watchers, 200 celestial beings, aka fallen angels, who descended upon the peak of Mount Hermon back in the days of Noah. On this mountain summit, they made an oath, binding themselves to the act that would shake the foundations of creation. They took human women as wives, and those women birthed the Nephilim, aka giants, beings of immense powers and corruption. They are the men of renown. Okay? That's what the Bible calls them. This is what Genesis 6 is talking about. And this just wasn't a rebellion. This was an effort to usurp the divine order. You see, the Watchers, aka the fallen angels, shared with humans forbidden knowledge, such as metalworking, how to create different weapons of war. Just basically, they gave them technology in exchange for what? For their women. This led humanity down a dark path of misery and ruin. These actions marked the days of Noah, a time when Jesus himself warned would echo in the last days. He said,
Okay, Boer is Afrikaans for farmer. Okay, that's good to know. Learned something new today.
as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. Meaning that the events that took place back then on Mount Hermon at the end of the world, right? So let's talk about Caesarea Philippi, aka the gate of Hades. Okay, at the foot of Mount Hermon lies Caesarea Philippi, a site that Jesus traveled to, and a site that is deeply intertwined with ancient worship and dark rituals. It was believed to be an actual gateway into hell. This was a place of pagan temples, a center for worship of the creature called Pan, and the location the ancients believed housed the very gates of hell. Physical location, okay?
Yeah, pan, like pansexual. That's where, yeah, actually, I'm not even going to get into that one.
It is here at the base of Mount Hermon that Jesus made one of the most profound declarations in his ministry. Jesus' words weren't just symbolic. They were a direct challenge to the spiritual forces that had claimed that region of Mount Hermon as their own. You see, Caesarea Philippi, aka Mount Hermon, was ground zero for this ancient rebellion of fallen angels, and Jesus stood there declaring victory over the powers of the seen and the unseen realm. Okay, so what does that have to do with today? Well, here's where it gets tricky, guys. Thousands of years later, Mount Hermon is back in the news again. In December 2024, as I record this right now, a few hours ago, the Israeli forces took control of a Syrian outpost at the mountain summit. While the official explanation centers on security, those familiar with the mountain's history cannot ignore the deeper.
Wait, is that true? Did Israel really take it over? I'm going to look that up real quick to make sure that's true, because this video is from today. I'm going to look that up real quick while it's playing.
Implications, right? So why Mount Hermon? Why now? With all the geopolitical stuff happening in the world at the moment, why is it happening right now? Is there something ancient to it? Something more spiritual? Something darker that's involved in this? Maybe. You see, this mountain's shadow stretches into the supernatural, and its past as where the Watchers fell down doesn't seem to be a coincidence. You see, when Jesus linked the end times to the days of Noah, he wasn't speaking lightly. Those days were marked with corruption.
Give me a second. We're getting a earthquake alert on our phones. Yeah, it was pretty close. So we might get some pretty good aftershocks. Oh, man. I just made a video about if a big one happens in California, it looks like that's where it's headed. We've been getting so many earthquakes on the fault line out here.
forbidden unions, forbidden technology, and the unleashing of spiritual forces on humanity.
I saw Stefan wrote something too. Stefan said in 1652, the Dutch settled in Cape as a halfway post to the east. In 1833, after a couple of wars with the British, the Dutch pulled out, leaving their people behind. Oh, wow. Damn, they just abandoned them? That's crazy. I knew the British were there and all that. I just don't know, like, all the history.
Humanity. Forces that humanity could not.
I mean, at one point, the British were pretty much everywhere. They were in Jamaica. They were everywhere.
Not control. You see, Mount Hermon was just central to that. And the story of its role in the rebellion of the fallen angels is a focal point of divine judgment, right? But could this activity on Mount Hermon right now signal the return of those days? Maybe. What do you think about it? You know, this mountain has always been a threshold between worlds, a place where the oaths were sworn, where the gates were open, and where humanity's fate was altered forever. As tensions rise right now on Mount Hermon, we just have to ask ourselves, guys, is this just another chapter in geopolitical history?
Oh, wow, that's true. Israel did take over a side of Mount Hermon. Wow. Actually, that makes sense. You know what? Because I was actually going to cover that instead. Bashar al-Assad from Syria fled the country. So that would make sense. They went up and took the Syrian side of Mount Hermon because there's nobody there to do anything about it right now. That's going to have some major effects, him just leaving like that in the Middle East. There's going to be someone or some group of people that's going to try to fill in the void for sure. So there could be some crazy stuff happening. That's why Israel went and took it, though, because Bashar al-Assad left.
Or are we witnessing something far greater? You see, the events unfolding right now could be part of a larger narrative. Is it possible?
Stefan says, these Dutch farmers are the nucleus of the Boers. Generally speaking, white Afrikaans speaking South Africans are called Boers. What's the difference between Afrikaans and Africans, like you wrote there? Is it two different languages? Because you say white Afrikaans speaking South Africans. So is it two different languages? Which would make sense if it's the North and the South, I guess.
Possible that the events that are happening right now on Mount Hermon can be linked back to what Jesus said in the days of Noah? I don't know. But one thing is for sure. The coincidences cannot be ignored. Now, to get even deeper into this subject, I'm going to show you an interview I had with Timothy Alberino, where he talks in depth about the book of Enoch, about Mount Hermon, and about some of the things that transpired during that time. Enjoy.
You're not a child, you're a man. So stop wearing so many layers to go outside and get the bearskin tack.
Mount Hermon.
Oh yeah, End Times Productions. If you see this, this is all falls under fair use. I'm just reacting to the video.
Has always been considered by these ancient Near Eastern cultures, and even by the Romans and the Greeks, to be what we would call today an axis mundi, a gateway to another realm, or perhaps a portal to somewhere else, right? It's a cosmic mountain. This is the way that the Mesopotamians would have viewed Mount Hermon. It's a cosmic mountain. And so it was believed.
You know what that makes me think about in Scripture, where it says that he was given a key to the bottomless pit. Wonder if that's where the bottomless pit could be opened from.
That there was a gate there to the netherworld. And part of this lore revolves around the Enochian tale. And I say part of it because the Greeks had their own reasons for believing that, and the Canaanites had their own reasons for believing it, but obviously the Hebrews believed that because of the Enochian tale, that the Watchers descended here And it's not coincidental that it was upon the slopes of Hermon that Jesus transfigured before his disciples. And it's not coincidental that it was at the base of Hermon where he declared that the gates of hell would not prevail against his church. And he did this specifically at the site of the Grotto of Pan.
That's interesting that that's the site where he chose to do it. Huh. I wonder if maybe that is where the bottomless pit opens and he comes out of. I always thought maybe CERN was the key they were talking about, where it says they were given the key to the bottomless pit. Because CERN has, it's weird, in their main room at CERN, they have like a 3-foot bronze key there. It's so weird. And then I heard one of the scientists basically say we're the key to a doorway. So I always wondered if CERN was the key to the bottomless pit to open it.
Which was thought to be an entrance into the netherworld or the underworld. So Mount Hermon is a cosmic.
All right, Stefan said black native Africans speak African languages. Zulu, I don't want to butcher it, Xhosa, Ndebele, Sotho, Vinda, Shanagon. I probably butchered a few of those, my bad. Okay. Afrikaans, on the other hand, basically a Dutch dialect spoken mostly by whites. Okay. That makes sense.
Mountain in the cosmology of the Mesopotamians and the ancient Near Eastern cosmology. It is a cosmic mountain. And again, what if that means something like a portal or a gate to hell or an axis mundi, whatever that means, it was viewed as this place where heaven and earth and the underworld were connected. That's what's known as an axis mundi. First Enoch relates an incredible story, a remarkable tale. And it turns out that this story lays the foundation for some of the most enigmatic references in the Old and New Testament of the Bible. So this isn't just some fanciful fiction that the Hebrews told their children at nighttime, some bedtime story. The story of First Enoch is foundational to Hebrew cosmology, to ancient Hebrew cosmology. You cannot remove the Enochian tale from ancient Hebrew cosmology. That's how foundational it is. And the story involves a company of 200 angels who the Book of Enoch denominates watchers.
Hey, sorry for interrupting. Isn't that annoying? What if I told you there was a way to get rid of ads like this?
And these angels were...
Yeah, I've never read the Book of Enoch. I think there's a few books. I've heard, I don't know, I could be wrong. I think there's like 6 or 7 books, or maybe more. But I've heard past the second book is pretty, like, weird and, like, wicked stuff. I've never even read the first 2, so, but I've heard the rest of them are pretty crazy, supposedly.
Observing the daughters of men, and of course this is the reference in Genesis 6. They were observing the daughters of men. They saw that they were comely, that they were fair, that they were beautiful.
Stephen said, you familiar with Ron Wyatt's discoveries? Yeah, the archaeologist who said he found the Ark of the Covenant and some of Jesus's blood over there. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I want to say I maybe in one of my streams did one of his videos. I covered something too.
And they desired to take them as wives. In fact, their desire, there's 2 explicit desires, 2 things conspicuous and 1 thing that is inconspicuous. 2 things that are directly mentioned, and the final motivation is inferred. So there's 3 motivations here. So the first thing we have to understand about the story of the Watchers is that there are 3.
Yeah, basically Ron Wyatt said he found some blood of Jesus under where he was crucified. And that supposedly the DNA was not human DNA. It's a pretty interesting documentary out there I watched a while ago about it. Yeah, it was definitely interesting for sure. He did spend a lot of time over there in the Middle East.
Be motivating factors that led to this transgression, which forms the beginning of the narrative, the historical narrative in the Book of Enoch. And the first motivation is the Watchers desired to marry and copulate.
James Pepin said, "I love you, my brother. You guys stay safe." All right, love you too, buddy.
With the daughters of men. So they desired to wed these women and to impregnate them. The second desire was to progenerate through them their own offspring. They wanted to
Yeah, and James, I don't worry about staying safe, brother. I literally don't fear a man on this planet. I don't fear nothing. I don't fear dying, none of that. I mean, it is what it is. If it's that time, it's that time. So yeah, I don't fear nothing, so I don't worry about staying safe. All right, Stefan. All right, buddy.
procreate and have children with their wives, with their human wives. That's the second motivation. The third motivation, and the first two are implicit, the third one is inferred. So the first two motivations are implicit in the text, in the narrative of First Enoch. This third motivation that I'm going to explain is inferred in what happens. And the third motivation is they wanted to usurp dominion of the earth from the sons of Adam through the agency of their hybrid offspring. That's the third motivation. And that is, as I said, not implicit in the text, it's inferred. So the Watchers, with these desires in mind, concocted this plan. They were going to descend to the earth in direct defiance of God. They knew that what they were about to do amounted to a grave transgression. And so what they did before they effectuated this.
Yeah, he's always leaving me comments telling me to stay safe. I always laugh.
Plan was they bound themselves by an oath. And the Book of Enoch says that they bound themselves by mutual imprecations, which means we're all in this together. We're binding ourselves together so that we will all have to pay the penalty for this great sin. So they bind themselves by mutual imprecations, and then they descend to the earth, and the point of arrival happens to be the summit of Mount.
Yeah, I thought you were saying you had to go like take care of your lawn and stuff, like cut your yard, because it said yard care and then take care.
Hermon, and Mount Hermon is in the Lebanese mountain range, in the Lebanon mountain range, and it is one of the highest peaks. And
Stephen said, "We've been through all the Christchurch earthquakes, 2011, 2012. Not much you can do when it strikes." Yeah, that's for real. We've been having them all. We have a lot in California. We had one about 2 months ago. I was walking and all of a sudden my equilibrium, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And then I just felt the shaking right after. It's the weirdest feeling. Like unless people have been through it, it's hard to even describe how weird it feels. But they've been talking for 20 years about the San Andreas fault and it going off at some point. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like I say, I mean, God's will always be done. So there's nothing to fear, you guys. There's nothing to fear at all. So that's how I live my life. If it's that time, it's that time. So it is what it is.
The Watchers descend to Hermon. It's not clear if they bind.
Just enjoy every day we have. Enjoy your family, and yeah, just be thankful for what we do have, guys.
Themselves by the oath before or after. I think they bind themselves by the oath actually when they arrive, because Mount Hermon was forever after known as the Mountain of Oath. So probably they bind themselves with an oath after they descend to Hermon. And as I said before, I do not envision the Watchers flapping their wings, descending, alighting onto the summit of Hermon.
I'd watched a movie, I don't know, probably years ago now, 10 years ago. I believe it was called The Immortals, maybe. But the opening scene was like all the gods in that movie basically flying through the air on fire and hitting Mount Hermon. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Because they tell us a lot in movies. They put a lot of stuff out there in our face. I think it's kind of like maybe like the laws of the universe. I think they kind of have to, because they do put a lot of truths in our face. It's right there for everyone to see.
On with these big, bird wings. I think that they arrived at the helms of advanced aerospace vehicles.
I mean, with a smart, I shouldn't even say that. That's probably is the best way to hide stuff, is in plain sight with people nowadays. Also hit like that.
In other words, UFOs. So once they bind themselves by this oath, they descend into the...
He said our first one, a 7.1, struck 4 a.m. Saturday morning. The one that caused damage and death struck 6 months later, only a 5.9 over lunchtime. That's crazy. Seems like the 7.1. Yeah, we had a 7.1 out here 2 days ago. And then in 86 or whatever, the Bay Area one, that one was bad. Like our house was shaking from that one. And we're pretty good distance outside the Bay Area. We're not too far, but our house was shaking. I was a kid. I remember that because it was during the World Series. It was the A's and Giants World Series, and they had to postpone it. But I remember our house shaking. I was scared. I was a kid. They're definitely no joke.
Planes, and they begin to choose from among the daughters of men suitable wives. Each one chose a singular wife.
I mean, really, anything over 7 is enough to cause tsunamis and all kinds of damage. You get up near 8. I think that one was in, I think it was Chile, I believe. They had that one. It was like an 8.0, and it just devastated Chile. So you get up around the 8s, that's catastrophic damage. Like that video I had the other day, the live, you got all the gas lines underground. They started exploding, and yeah, 8s are deadly.
And the sense isn't that they were invading the villages and throwing these women over their shoulders. This is not what's being communicated. Rather, the way I envision it, I think the way that's implied in the way it's implied in the text, is that the Watchers were covertly observing the villages and choosing each one of them which woman from these various villages that they wanted to take as a wife. And then a transaction occurs. And this is not exactly implicit in the text. This is also inferred in the text. The Watchers engage in a transaction with the fathers of the maidens that they want to wed. And remember, the motivation here is not just to copulate with these women, but rather to wed them, to take them as wives and procreate offspring with them, to have families.
Stefan said in New Zealand, whenever there's a tsunami warning, everyone runs to the beach to see it. Crazy. Tsunamis are so insane. That would have to be the weirdest thing, sitting on the beach and you just see the beach just retreat like 1,000 yards. Most people will be sitting there not even having a clue what's about to happen. Oh, a tsunami, that would be crazy seeing. That one that hit the Philippines or wherever, that one was devastating. Same with Japan, too. That's just crazy. An earthquake can cause that much water to move that fast. That's just insane.
Right? In the manner of the sons of Adam. And so the Watchers, once they have the maidens that they desire to wed, they go to their fathers and they make a transaction. And the transaction is something like, again, this is inferred in the text. The transaction is something like, I desire to wed your daughter, and here's what I'm going to give you as a dowry, as payment in exchange for your daughter's hand in marriage.
Oh wow, is he getting at that's where in their culture that's where like proposed marriages started? Wouldn't be surprising.
And this is all being done in accordance with the customs of the ancient Near East. So the Watchers are engaging in the cultural.
Okay, he said the customs were already in place. Okay.
Norms here revolving around marriage, revolving around the covenant of marriage. And those norms involve something like a dowry, a payment for.
My old neighbors, their daughter, that's what they did with her when she was 18. She met the guy one time. He came over to the house, and then they were married like the next weekend. Some customs and religions do that. They were Jehovah's Witnesses. They were really nice people, like super, super nice. They were just never outside. The dad would be outside doing yard work, and he would talk to you, but the kids, you would say like hi, and they wouldn't even half the time say hi back. They would just ignore you and walk by. But they were super, super nice people. But the boy went on a missionary to somewhere, and they married her to the kid, and I never saw the kids again, and then we moved. But yeah, they were super nice people.
Or the daughter's hand in marriage. And this is a patriarchal society. So the fathers had the authority to give their daughters hand.
All right, Stefan said, my property on our west coast is about 1 kilometer from THD Alpine fault line, which is also apparently 100 years overdue. The clever people predict an 8+ shake. Well, you got a buddy with you, so they're saying the same for us. We're on the San Andreas, and they're expecting an 8, so there's that. We got something in common.
Hands in marriage. The women really didn't have a say. Although I do believe that the women were willing participants because they're later on judged.
Want to start a podcast, but not sure how? Riverside has got you covered. First, go
for
We'll be earthquake buddies.
Their transgression with the Watchers. So it's not that the Watchers.
Yeah, the Bible tells us in the end they would have all these earthquakes in diverse places, and so it's going to happen eventually here. Like I said, it is what it is. We've already been made a promise, so there's really nothing to worry about at all. We already know where we're going, so.
Watchers are forcibly taking these women and demanding that the fathers give them their hands in marriage. Rather, there's a transaction happening here, a bargain. And it turns out it's a Faustian bargain. Because in exchange for their daughter's hands in marriage, the Watchers teach the sons of Adam.
So basically a Faustian bargain, selling your soul bargain, basically.
They teach the men, they instruct them in the knowledge that the men were already striving to learn. And what that informs us that the Watchers already knew what kind of knowledge these men wanted. So they already came to the table with a bargaining chip in mind. You want to know X, Y, and Z, we can teach you these things. And in exchange, you give us your daughter's hands in marriage. So it's a transaction. And this is important because it's a legal transaction that the Watchers are after. This is a legal transaction with the rightful regents of the earth, the sons of Adam. And so the Watchers.
So I'm assuming they had to make it a legal transaction because of free will. That's the only thing that makes sense to me is free will. It had to be a legal transaction.
Are obviously trying to accomplish something with legal cover. Otherwise, they would just have taken these women by force. They did not. They wed them. And you can envision the Watchers, and of course the Watchers are going to be received as the gods. The gods have descended, and you can imagine being a father of one of these maidens. This transcendent being, one of the gods, wants to marry my daughter. and is going to give me as a dowry, is going to instruct me in the secrets of heaven. So it was a very favorable transaction for the sons of Adam. And again, I think specifically the sons of Cain, but that's just my hunch, let's say. So as the story goes, the Watchers wed the daughters of men, and we can imagine that this happened with all the pomp and ceremony and circumstance that such a wedding would have elicited.
I mean, actually, that would make sense that it was with the sons of Cain, and those are basically the bloodlines that run the world today. So that actually makes a lot of sense.
The gods are marrying these women, right? 200 Watchers. So this is probably a really big celebration. And then the Watchers begin to teach men the secrets, the knowledge they were striving to learn. In the meantime, as this is happening, the Watchers copulate with their wives. Their wives become pregnant, they conceive, and they give birth to giants. Some ancient texts suggest that some of the women's wombs were split open during birth.
See, I was going to say, I've always been like, how could they birth giants? That would, yeah. I've always wondered that, like, how would a giant not, like, harm the mother? There'd be, like, no way. It would have to be, he would have to come out looking like a 3-year-old almost. Dang. That's a, whew.
Or were split open by the enormous size of the babies that are growing in their wombs. But I don't think that's really historically accurate, in as much as this is a historical narrative, because the women are later turned into sirens. They're later judged. So I think that most of them and the Watchers instruct their wives in the secrets, in these forbidden secrets. So the women are participating in the iniquity of the Watchers. They're not just giving birth and dying, apparently, according to the narrative.
Well, if that's the case, then they had to be born regular size then.
So I think that the women were giving birth to normal-sized babies, just like babies that are born with gigantism. And those babies, as they progress into toddlers.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Because I would imagine back in the day, if they saw a couple women just split apart like the Alien movie, they probably would have been like, "Yeah, I'm not letting you have my daughter." But I don't know, I could be wrong.
And then into adolescence, experience an accelerated rate of growth. Again, just like babies who are born with gigantism, they're born at a normal size and rate, but it's like the valve is never shut off. The puberty, the growth spurt never stops. They just keep going and going and going. But in the case of gigantism, it results in very large but weak human beings who have dysfunctional organs and who are usually not very.
Yeah, people with gigantism, most of the time they can't even like get around or walk, or they're not very strong at all.
Athletic. Andre the Giant was an exception, and even he died young, the wrestler. But most people with gigantism do not.
Yeah, they say he drank at one sitting. He drank like 300 beers one night, and all the wrestlers say that they swear it's true. They say they sat there and watched him. Yeah, a wine bottle looked like a beer bottle in his hand. It was insane. But they said he would go to dinner and drink 10 bottles of wine at dinner by himself. That's insane.
Not live very long, in contrast to the offspring of the Watchers, who were superhumanly enhanced with the DNA of their angelic fathers. And so these would have been superheroes, basically, hybrids. They would have been human enough to appropriate, and this is important, the authority and dominion of the sons of Adam on earth as given by God.
Yeah, and this is basically what led to God flooding the world.
That mandate, but yet at the same time, they were infused with the remarkable genetic markers and capabilities of their angelic fathers. And they grew to great stature, according to the book of Enoch. They began to consume all of the acquisitions of the land. In other words, they were eating all the food. And human beings were forced to feed the giants, according to Enoch. And when they could no longer sustain them, their appetites, the giants began to feed on men. And as all of this is unfolding, mankind is through the knowledge of the Watchers, they're developing various kinds of technology, including implements of war. Azazel, specifically the Watcher Azazel, taught men how to forge weapons and make armaments of war. And this is proliferating all kinds of bloodshed on the earth. So there's a
Yeah, see right here from that one TV show, they hide stuff right in plain sight. There's a big giant right there.
murderous bloodlust that is introduced through the knowledge of the Watchers that had not previously existed in the world. So the Watchers...
I'm not saying that was a real giant. I'm saying they basically tell us truths about truths in movies and stuff and right in our faces.
The knowledge of the Watchers is corrupting mankind, and they're becoming murderous and bloodthirsty and are becoming very idolatrous and altogether wicked, so that by the time the flood comes, their thoughts are only evil continually, as the Bible says. And so eventually there's so much chaos and havoc and death and war unfolding in the earth that men began to cry out to God, to petition heaven. And their petitions are brought before the King of Heaven. The angels bring their petitions to the King of Heaven. And it is decided that the good Watchers, by the way, the divine council is apparent in First Enoch, because you have the good Watchers in heaven and you have the apostate Watchers on earth, the defected Watchers on earth, and you have the good ones in heaven. And these are the good ones are referred to as the holy Watchers of heaven. This terminology, holy Watchers, is also apparent in the book of Daniel. And so this is effectively members of the divine council. This is the council of the king. And the prayers of and the petitions of the people who are dying and suffering on earth, who are living in this nightmarish dystopia on planet Earth, their petitions are coming before this council and before the king. And the king decides, the king and his council decide that they're going to put a stop to the activity of the Watchers on the earth. And what happens is this judgment comes forth, this very, very punitive judgment comes forth, in which the Watchers are to be bound in chains, and their offspring are going to be destroyed before a cataclysm destroys the earth. And so the Watchers are bound in chains. God dispatches some of the...
I wonder if some of them were one of the four that were bound under the Euphrates River that's supposed to be let loose when the river dries up, which Euphrates has started drying up in the last year. So I wonder if they're one of the ones that were bound under the Euphrates.
The good guys to come and bind them in chains. But before they're imprisoned in what Peter calls Tartarus in 2 Peter in the New Testament, directly referencing this story from 1 Enoch, before they're bound in chains in the abyss in Tartarus, they're forced to behold the annihilation.
No, not the Euphrates ones.
The destruction of their beloved sons. And so they have to watch as God incites the offspring of the Watchers into fratricide, into a civil war, a hybrid civil war in which they utterly annihilate each other. And this is part of the judgment of the Watchers. They have to watch their offspring, the Nephilim, the giants, go to war with one another. And I don't envision this as, big dumb giants clonking each other over the heads with clubs. This is a technological war. They're bringing into this conflict all of the technology and knowledge of their fathers, of the Watchers. They're bringing into battle the armaments forged from the knowledge of the Watchers. So I envision this much more like the ancient Sanskrit epics of India, in which you have these epic battles in which the gods and mortal men are locked in these bloody conflicts. And in the midst of these wars, you have these amazing advanced aerospace vehicles being deployed, which are called vimanas in the Sanskrit epics. And these vimanas are like warships, flying warships that are able to discharge what appears to be some sort of laser or missiles. And it's all described in lurid detail in Ramayana and the Mahabharata. And I think this is probably what this conflict between the offspring of the Watchers, the hybrid civil war that's unfolding between the various factions of giants on Earth looked like. It looked like superhuman giants and their advanced technology fighting each other, but in the midst of this battle are also human beings who are also fighting on one side or the other, just like the Sanskrit epics, right? So something like that, in my estimation.
I wonder if the giants are going to come back, because Scripture says the end days will be just like the times of Noah. So I've always wondered if the giants will reappear in the end days.
The nation is unfolding in this fratricidal conflict that's unfolding on planet Earth before the flood. And so the Watchers are witnessing their offspring kill each other. And then, and this all happens as a prelude to the cataclysm of the flood, which is never actually described in the book of Enoch, but it's coming in the background. You know it's coming. But it's never actually described in the historical narrative. But that's pretty much what brings the narrative to an end, is God chooses to preserve the line of Adam through Noah and some of the animal life on Earth, and everything else is destroyed.
See, the flood is always what's made me not think we live on the globe. Because I think we sit more in like a bowl shape with like the firmament, a dome above us. That makes the most sense to me in how God would flood the world. He would just open the top and the water just rushes in and fills up. I just don't see how on a spinning globe how you keep the water on. I mean, God could do anything he wants. I mean, so it's possible with him, but and then the scripture also says he sent angels to the four corners of the earth. I still know how you have corners on a globe. That's why I've always thought it's more maybe like a bowl shape with like a dome above it.
And so all of these things that I'm saying that come from the narrative of Enoch, these form the substrate of ancient Hebrew cosmology, the foundational level of ancient Hebrew cosmology, so that when you get to Genesis 6, for example, and we read that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful and took wives from among them, and then we see that the Nephilim result from this union, we know that the author is referencing the Enochian tale. And this is why he doesn't further elaborate on what he's saying in Genesis 6. It's a strange digression in the Genesis narrative without any further elaboration of what he's talking about, the author of Genesis. Why doesn't he have to elaborate on this strange reference? Because it's already well known. The story is already widely disseminated. It's well known among the ancient Hebrews. In other words, the book of Enoch, in other words, the narrative of first Enoch is already widely disseminated and well known in the form of oral tradition at the very least, and possibly in written form. That's why you have this referent in Genesis 6, this enigmatic reference to the sons of God, Nephilim, with no further explanation.
That's the thing, too. You got to take Enoch with a grain of salt because obviously it's not canonized and it's not in the Bible. So, yeah.
There's no need for any further explanation. Everyone already knows what he's talking about, right?
Yeah.
And so this is why also you get to the New Testament, you have Peter and Jude referencing those angels who sinned in the days of Noah. And as a consequence of their sin are now chained in gloomy darkness and Tartarus or the abyss. That's a direct reference to the Enochian tale, to the narrative of First Enoch.
It very well could be a round ball too. I mean, it doesn't matter what shape it is, really. I want to check out one more thing. Try and find a good video about Israel taking Mount Hermon. So they already had a side of it, but it looks like they took another side. Let's check this out real quick, see what the face looks like.
It's an absolute banger.
There used to be a good documentary. I couldn't find it, but it actually showed the whole upper part of the mountain, and it showed the UN guards and everything up there. But I can't find it anymore.
The scenery is stunning. The snow so white and majestic. You can easily think you're in the Swiss Alps, but the little fence just meters away is a reminder that this is actually a dangerous border area.
We're on the highest manned outpost in the state of Israel, overlooking Syria. 20 meters behind us is already Syrian territory.
Mitzpeh Shlagim is the Hebrew name of this outpost, meaning snow observatory. It's easy to understand how it got its name, but for the soldiers here, this is far from a sightseeing trip. They're well aware of what might happen if they fall asleep on guard.
We cannot let this beautiful scenery and the snow that we see all around confuse us, because if it happens, we will be at risk and our enemy will take advantage of that.
Outdoors, it is of course different than any other place in Israel, but indoors, the base is similar.
See, what's so important? The UN has a base up there with actual UN soldiers, though. I understand Israel being up there. It's on the border with Syria.
To many others around the country, and so is the activity in it.
We spend most of our day training, whether it's close combat fitness training, close contact engagement, and anything else needed for readiness.
Anything needed for readiness means the shooting ranges, among other activities, and the snow will surely not stop that.
The snow doesn't bother us. Our soldiers know how to deal with the enemy in these conditions. They hit well and are well.
I don't know. It seems like they give them white uniforms up there so they'd be able to blend into the snow better. I just noticed they stood out so much in those green uniforms.
Aware of how to conquer the targets, even in the snow.
Right down below, as mentioned, is Syria. Today, a struggling country following more than a decade of a bloody civil war, but in the past, a mighty enemy who had its military success right here on this mountain. Just across the hill.
Yeah, and then their president, Bashar al-Assad, literally vacates and runs for his life out of the country, and they say they don't know where he is. Come on, everybody knows where he's at. He's in Russia. It's so obvious.
Behind the clouds stands the other Israeli outpost on the mountain. It's the same outpost conquered by Syria on the first day.
That's going to affect Russia and Iran big time, though, him having to vacate and basically run for his life. That's going to affect Russia and Iran big time in that region right there.
Of the Yom Kippur War in October 1970.
It's going to be basically like a big vacuum. They're all going to be scrambling to try to place their own person of power in there. Even America is going to be doing it too. I guarantee it. They're all going to be trying to get their own person they can control in their watch.
1953 and recaptured by Israel after an extremely difficult battle on the last day of the war. It may have happened nearly half a century ago, but the story is ever present here.
Stefan said the sound of assault rifles so comforting, brings back memories. Oh man. You served? Did you saw like combat? Yeah, I bet that could be, if you were in combat, I bet that could be crazy. My buddy told me some stories. He was in Iraq, and for a while after he got back, like any type of popping noise, he was jumping, and yeah, he had it rough the first year or two he came back.
It's in our mind all the time. We bring people who fought here back then to tell us the story of what happened there and how the outpost.
That's what I'm saying. This new warfare and going on in Russia and Ukraine with these drones, those soldiers are going to have the worst PTSD from those drones. That's a crazy warfare. Drones. That shouldn't even be legal. Just flying over a group of people and just dropping grenades and bombs on them like that. That should be war crimes right there. That's a crazy warfare right there, drones. And imagine one day if AI just took over and had millions of drones and just took over all the drones. Oh my goodness.
Was conquered.
We heard so many stories about what happened here and the fact that so many Israeli soldiers were killed in order to keep our presence on this mountain. It tells us why it's so important for us to be here.
The Syrian army may not be the same powerful enemy of the past.
Right, they didn't really show. I was trying to get a good look at the UN base and how they say it's all blocked off up there. But there aren't very many videos about. Here's one. We'll see.
It's been 2 years since that disaster struck. The city's population is now sparse. In an effort to escape the monsters, you found a grounded.
This one's them actually talking about them taking the other half of it, the Syrian half. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Israel just move all the way in and completely take over Syria, actually. That wouldn't surprise me at all. It would actually probably be smart, and it would probably benefit them to go ahead and do that. Yeah, I could see that happening real easy, actually. And if now would be the perfect time, there's no one defending it. Basically what's going on, it's two rebel groups that basically stormed and got Bashir al-Assad out of there, but now they're like, who's going to take power between those two groups? So it's probably going to lead to a civil war between those two groups of people, which are basically civilians. So there's really not a military there that could defend Syria right now. So they could easily go in there and take all of Syria if they wanted to. They might actually do that. I really wouldn't be surprised. Syria actually, that could play a pretty powerful role if they do go to full-out war in the Middle East, having Syria, because they could deploy some weaponry and stuff there. Syria is really strategical in the Middle East where it lays, so I could really see them going and taking the whole of Syria. Comment from Stefan. I used to work on commercial freezer robots. We joked how we need to be able to repair them in case robots take over one day and they'll have to come to us for repairs. Yeah, for real. Like that's like these new Tesla robots. I'm seeing all the celebrities buy them. They're like, I think like 15,000 or 24,000 bucks. You couldn't pay me to have one of those in my house. Like yeah, you could literally couldn't pay me to have one of those robots in my house. Those things, first of all, they're creepy. They're weird. I think it's a satanic technology, AI. But I think they're there just spying on all those celebs the whole day, and they don't even have a clue. That's Yeah, I do not trust them. I would not go to sleep knowing one of them's walking around in my house just doing whatever. There is no way. Nope. But they're using all these like top streamers like Kai Cenat and all that to make it look cool. That's how they always push all their agendas and everything they want people getting, and they use all the top celebs and influencers. It's crazy. This is off the topic too, but what else is crazy is what's up with all you Christian YouTube channels using AI to write you rebuttals against other channels? Like, that is so insane. I saw one the other day, he used AI to write him a response, a rebuttal. That, AI, really? That's so insane. Like, that's crazy. You're gonna trust AI? Oh my goodness, you guys just, I don't know. I don't know what to say sometimes. You guys just blow my mind. But I've noticed most of the Free Grace channels are integrating AI into their channel. It's crazy. I don't trust AI. You'll never see me using that on my channel. I don't trust it. Not for me. And then I've been seeing videos of AI intentionally lying to people. They've been like catching them. Yeah, I don't trust AI at all. All right, we got a comment. Yeah, Stefan said Layman's wife admitted to using AI in debates. That's who I was talking about. Was his wife. And then right after that, I saw another channel. He used AI basically to rebut a position he couldn't defend himself, and what the AI said, like, it didn't even make sense at all. It was the AI twisted it up so much. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't really care for the Layman Seminary channel at all. Charles, I don't know. Charles is just cringe to me. He was on there with the Black Hebrew Israelites that whole week, a couple weeks ago, rapping, and that was so cringe. I was just like, you're making yourself look like such an idiot right now, Charles. Like, it's yeah, that's a whole nother topic too. Yeah, and Charles still won't answer me. I challenged him to show me where free grace was preached before the first century. He can't. He knows it. That's why he blocked me and ignores me. Literally, there was Catholicism, Eastern Orthodox, and Gnosticism before the first century, so it's impossible. And Charles, I have a short of you I posted saying free grace was named in 1920. You told me you would cook me, remember? You're like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to start making videos on you and cook you. Yeah, looks like you're on low heat there, buddy. Well, like I said, I'll keep waiting on that answer. We both know it's never coming because you can't defend it at all because it's not a part of history. challenge is still out for every other free gracer I've challenged. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stephen said, you want to formally debate me on that, Charles. Exactly. That's what he said to me. He's like, you want to get up here and formally debate? And I was like, yeah, I'll debate you as soon as you show me where free grace was around before 1517. Yep, never heard back again after that. But yeah, I'll formally debate that, Charles. Show me where it was around before the 1st century, because it wasn't. I've already proven this in many videos. Unless you're saying that you're a Gnostic. Yeah, maybe after this we'll check out a few Charles videos, see what he's been up to lately. I haven't been keeping up on him. I don't know. I don't care for the guy. I mean, I don't hate him or nothing like that. I don't know. Just something about him. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, see, it's basically citizens. That's what I was saying. There's 2 different rebel groups that basically kicked him out. So it's basically just citizens. So there's really no military in here that could really defend anything. Russia can't send nobody over. They're strapped down in Ukraine. Iran's not going to send anybody over because that would escalate tensions and possibly cause some stuff to come back on Iran. So, yeah, this might end up being a crazy situation right here in the next few days. All right, let's see what's going on with Charles here lately. I don't know if you saw what was going on, what I was talking about a few weeks ago when he was doing all the black Hebrew Israelite stuff. But he kept saying he was going on Clubhouse and he was trying to get it's a rapper named The Games Manager. His name is Whack 100. He's out here in California. He's a Blood Gang member. And he has this site called Clubhouse. But Charles kept going on there trying to get his attention for some reason. And he was like, yeah, I'm about to cause such a commotion in the hip hop world. I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I don't get it. Yeah, see, I don't know what his obsession with a BHI is and Whack 100 and trying to get their attention so bad. Like, I just don't get it.
He tries to have salt. Yeah. Try to be like us. So what he's saying is they not like us. They not like us. I try to have salt, but he has no flavor. You can't say that about Eminem. Yeah.
Tries to be like us. He tries to have salt.
Yeah. Try to be like us. So what he's saying is they not like us. They not like.
According to Charles, it's cool to act like this because he's from the 90s and it's street, according to him.
Am I black enough yet? I want to know.
Listen. My thing is,
am I black enough yet? Wow. This all started with me and Charles because these BHI videos. I was in a game party with all my buddies who I've been playing with for years, and most of them are black, and they heard him say, I forgot what he said, Oh, that's what it was. He was basically equating kilos and drugs and saying like ghetto and with the BHI guy. And they were like, why is he basically equating that to the black guy? That sounds like super racist. And I told him that, and it blew up from there. I was like, basically like, dude, you sound dumb, Charles. Like, what are you doing?
What is this?
So I'm going off of the comment.
But he told me like, no, it's not racist. I'm from the 90s. It's just street talk. And I was like, bro, I have 4 of my friends telling you it sounds racist how you basically said it. Yeah.
Trope or the motif, or I want to be down, right? I want to be down.
But you see, like right here, he says, am I black enough yet? Like,
I want to be black. Let me invite me to the black, invite me to the black cookout, and all that stuff, right? I'm not making an issue of it, and I'm not going to apologize for anything either. They want to make it about race, so I'm gonna make jokes about it, and they can say, "Oh yeah, you're doing this,"
What do you expect? You've been acting like a clown for weeks with him. Like, they have every right to say what they're saying, Charles. Like, yeah, this is what they mean when they say like entitlement and stuff, dude. Like, you don't see it. Everyone on the outside looking in sees it. Just you don't.
No, whatever. We could deal with this academically, or we can handle this like Snoop said. We can handle this nice and gentlemen, or we could get into some gangster. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know what to say. Like, wow. Like, does anybody like take that seriously right there, like at all? Like, tell me anybody wouldn't laugh if he said we can get into some gangster. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's up with this guy. Wow. That's crazy. Stefan said, sorry, I missed the question. Oh my goodness. This guy. Oh, it's a laugh at least. Yes, I did serve 92, 93 just before Mandela came into power. Okay. We were conscripted from early 70s till 94. We were facing off in Angola against Russia, Cuba. Oh, wow. You were in Angola? Wow. Yeah, I know. It was crazy over there for sure. Dang. Well, I'm glad you made it out, buddy. Wow. Our war ended in 90 when communism fell. After 91, we were used for inland security. Okay. Wow.
Y'all know the rest if you know. If not, it's fine.
Charles really said we can debate or we can get into some gangster-ish. Like, what? What a clown.
Notice how he tried.
There you go, John. All I see is racist faces, misplaced hate, make disgrace to races. Yeah.
Tries to be like us. He tries to.
Okay, so you're just gonna rap a Tupac line?
Have
yeah. Try to be like us. Am I black enough yet? I want to know.
Listen.
Like, I don't get it. He's just making himself look like such an idiot. Like, what, Charles? What's your fascination with BHI? And I think you really like wanted to be a rapper your whole life or something. And I don't know what's going on with you, buddy. Like, I don't know. It's not a good look though. Yeah, she has you'll like this one here. She says, what does AI say about Seventh-day Adventist? It's coming up at 11:30 tonight. So I don't know what time that is for you. Chartman, I wonder how he will debate if he can't use charts. Yeah, exactly. Bro, half the stuff he says is so dumb. He just uses big words that he thinks most people won't know. And yeah, his charts. And I'm like, bro, that's not true because you make stupid charts. Oh my goodness, I don't get it. Yeah, you might like this one tonight though, Stefan. What does AI say about Seventh-day Adventist? It's at 11:30. So I don't know what time that would be for you. It might be nighttime for you. But that'll be on, that's his wife right there, right? What's her name, Janet? Yeah, maybe maybe I'll cover this one tomorrow if you don't check it out tonight. If it's too late, maybe I'll cover this one for you because you said your 7th day, didn't you? Yeah, I've never really looked too much into the 7th day. Like I said, I was Catholic for the first half of my life, and then when I left, I never went to like another denomination. I was like, I'm just not going to put another title on it and jump into another denomination. So I've never really looked into 7th day. I've heard a little bit about them, but I've never like really looked into them. But yeah, I think that one will be interesting. We'll definitely check that one out. And it was AI, like we were just talking about.
Right here. And since we all came from a woman, whether you want to go back to Adam and Eve or whether you want to go back to Isaac and Rebecca, it is still the same mama. All right?
See, that's what you want. I know exactly what's going on. So that's all you wanted. You wanted to go on Clubhouse and cause so much drama that hopefully WAC 100 would mention you, because your whole goal is to get a debate with Pastor Gino Jennings. I don't forget nothing, Charles. I told you I have basically a photographic memory and I can store stuff and pull it out. I remember hearing you say your end goal was to get a debate against Pastor Gino Jennings. So you're doing all of this to try to get a debate that's never going to happen. Wow.
So save that drama for your mama, you know?
You think if you cause enough distraction and get enough of them mad that possibly WAC would say something which would get back to Gino or something like that. Actually, you know what? I remember you saying too, one of the moderators and one of the guys you had been talking to is really good buddies with Gino Jennings. So I'm pretty sure that's what you're trying to do here, Charles.
It's crazy. But anyway, I hopefully right here. And since we all came from a woman, whether you want to go back to Adam and Eve,
main accusation against SDA is Ellen White. Okay, I'll check that out. I've never heard of Ellen White. I'll definitely look into that.
Dude, because they have no interest in true dialogue. They only have interest in what? Telling people, raising the consciousness of their own people and exposing the Edomites for what they really are. That's essentially what is going on. But
why are you always playing with your nose so much, Charles? I've noticed that you play with your nose a lot.
I don't care if I'm an Edomite. It's not a problem for me. But it's a dumb argument because we got the same mama. You know, what did Pac say? And you keep your head up. I think it's in there. Keep your head up. He says, he's
going to say, and since we all came from a woman, got our name from a woman. Oh my goodness.
Even though we came from a woman, I can't remember exactly how he says it. Let me see here. And he starts out in a particular way. He says, so say the black of the blue. Because they have no interest in true.
Yeah, this is pretty much all Charles has been on lately, is getting into it with the BHIs. I was trying to find that one where his wife had did a response with the AI. It was a little short. Oh, there's our buddy Rajit, aka Mike Sampat, the liar. Mike, buddy, why don't you just give up and apologize to me? You can even do it in private. Just be a man and a real Christian and apologize. You lied about me. you let your whole server sit there and attack me that night, and then you say I'm wicked for not coming to you in private about some PDF accusations on your Discord. You know dang well I came to you in private. Just give it up and apologize, buddy. If you're a real Christian and a real man. But we both know that's never going to happen. There's a good one. Yeah, can you imagine, guys, this guy right here being the next big rapper?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and this is Rougher Media, and I'm the Reformed Bear.
Oh, I know who this is. Me and him got into it a little bit in the comments, in my comment section on one of my videos, this Reformed Bear guy.
Today we're
he
going to...
wrote something on my video. I forgot what he wrote. But it sounded like he was kind of defending free grace a little bit. Or, I don't remember. It was something to that effect about... I think he was on saying to me I shouldn't be telling people that they'll go to hell or something like that.
Talk about the layman seminary again. Now, I've been going back and forth lately with this guy for a few weeks, and I've noticed a few things about these free grace guys, at least the new stock of free grace guys that I am coming across. A lot of them claim to know all these things, but they don't give you any proof for any of the things they claim they know. Now, I do know that the layman seminary says he studies Greek. He says he teaches Greek. I've watched some of his Greek videos. I don't claim to be a scholar in Greek, but I did take a few classes myself. But I am going to tell.
Yeah, I saw a video where somebody was like, yeah, he's not even translating the Greek right at all. They're like, he's not even close.
Tell you a few things. The last response video I made, I called him a fraud in Greek in the title, and he didn't say anything about it. He didn't respond to the video. What he did do is put it on his community post and tell other people to respond, basically, which is a giant sign of a coward, giant sign of a false teacher, too, because they always divert away from having to answer scriptural or theological questions. Meanwhile, this guy's trying to debate everybody. Well, all you have to do is go off of his view.
Hey, Stefan, what do you want to watch tomorrow? Do you want to watch that live that's going to go on tonight, or you want me to do a video on this Ellen White lady, or possibly both, depending on how long that live is? We could possibly get into both of them, but their lives are usually like 3 hours. So, but if you have one you prefer, just write it in the comments, and I'll get to that one tomorrow.
View and his sub, and then do the ratio, do the math. He has 11,000 subs, a little bit over 11,000 subs.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. A lot of these free grace channels will have, like Mike Toronto has 900 subs, but he'll get like 10 people on his live and like 40, 50 to 100 watches on a video. St. AVS has 176,000, and he gets like a couple hundred video, and then maybe like 40 to 100 people alive. It's weird. Either they chase off a lot of people or the numbers aren't real. I don't know. I think in Mike's case, he probably chased off most of the people. I would imagine. He's so rude to everybody. I would imagine he probably chased off most of his. But I just noticed that with a lot of their numbers, they're like way off. They just don't add up.
And he pulls in a whole whopping like 54 views on a video.
Like me, I have like 22 subscribers, and I get usually 10 to 30 views. Lately, I've been getting more. I had a video do 90, one of my lives. So I don't know. The numbers are just weird looking.
The only reason he even gave a little bump,
okay,
even just a teeny little bump, was because of me. Nothing he did. Now that,
like I said, Stefan, if you have Discord, my Discord is the same as my YouTube channel name. And then you can always just write me on Discord too anytime. Or later you can get back to me and just leave a comment on the video too.
I put that little biscuit out there for you to eat on there, Charlie. Now I want you to be honest about who you are. Charlie, every time we talk, every time I comment from either my one channel.
Nathan said, JP Uncut, a conditionalist who's sucking up to praise, says those subs are bought. Yeah, I've actually heard a few people tell me that and say that. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, what's the point of buying them, though, just so that I guess they can get their channel monetized? Because it's not helping your numbers or nothing like that. So is it just to basically get monetized? And to get their videos out there to more people, obviously. Yeah, it's crazy. Paying for views. I'm good on that.
Channel or this channel.
Or paying for subs, I mean.
Whatever I'm using, which one has premium on it at the time, to be honest with you. I will say things like, Charlie, you claim to be married, but I'm pretty sure you live in your mom's basement and your quote wife lives in another country. These are real things. If you're going to claim to be a teacher.
Is that true? I don't know about that. Is that true though? Wouldn't surprise me. Has anyone ever seen them in a video like together in actual like next to each other in a video, not like split screen?
Or an elder or any of these kind of things that you pretend to be. Okay. I truly believe that you think in your head that you're like a pastor. Like you think YouTube is a school. Like you think YouTube is a church. It's not. I'm not to break your bubble or anything, but it's not. And you're
No, I've heard him say that before, word for word, that YouTube is a church, is a modern day churches.
Teaching falsely while you're at it. You're not even teaching the Bible. You're teaching some made up version of whatever you think it means to you. And I know that because when I ask you to explain what I believe, what is Reformed theology believe? What does it teach? What are the five solas? What does tulip mean? Explain why you think and other free gracers.
Yeah, the P and tulip, perseverance of the saints.
Will say things like Calvinists, which is what I am. Calvinists.
Like I literally put out a short of Charles saying free grace was named in 1920. Like there's no way around it. He can't show where free grace was before 1517 because it's not there. There was Catholicism, Eastern Orthodox, and Gnosticism. That was it before the first century.
They don't even evangelize. They don't even evangelize because they think that God predetermined who went to heaven and who went to hell. Well, you're right and you're wrong. Okay, that's a good example for you.
All right, Stefan. Oh, Nathan, my bad. Stefan said, I had first interaction with Charles on Mew some 10 years ago while he was studying. He is still studying. Yeah, I heard him say a few days ago he's supposedly taking the final or something, but he was worried about it because he's not studying. He's getting ready for some debate more than studying to finish up. A lot of them, they go to like non-denominational seminaries, and yeah.
Free grace, guys. Let me explain that real fast for you guys. If you're wondering, how is it that a Calvinist can believe that God chooses and at the same time preach to people? Well, it's because we don't know who the elect is. If you read Romans 8 and Romans 9, the entire
that's what it is. He's a Calvinist. Okay.
Chapters, you will see over and over and over God's election. He chooses Isaac over the other one, his other brother, Ishmael.
I'm pretty sure the argument we were having in one of my videos was over me saying people could lose salvation. I'm pretty sure that's what me and Reform Bear were going back and forth on.
Well, he does all these things. He chooses Jacob over Isaac, I think.
Yeah, I've heard of you.
Something like that, you know what I mean? Like over and over and over, he's showing you in examples and saying things like,
yeah, there was another one back then called like You Now or something like that. That was similar.
You were predestined. Like It's just a whole nother video, but basically we believe that God elects. He elects who he's going to save. Yes. And he elected, and he sees and knows who's not going to choose him. Choose. I'm using that word very loosely, but who he didn't elect. Okay. Now I know that's really hard for simple minded people that just want to believe whatever they're, told or whatever they think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what our conversation was, that people were elected and those elected people can't lose salvation. I think that's what we were going back and forth on.
Without actually reading the Bible, but it's biblical because we don't know who the elect are. So therefore we preach to all nations, baptizing them in the Father and the Son. You get it? So we can still fulfill, what is it, Matthew 28 or whatever? Like we can still fulfill the commitment that Jesus gave to us to go and preach therefore to all nations. Okay. And still believe that God chose who would pick him. If you think that God doesn't know who,
whoever the other viewer is, the first half of the video was about Mount Hermon, and then me and Stefan started talking about Charles. So we decided to watch a few videos here at the end.
Is going to be saved and who's not going to be, then you're putting God in this teeny little box and you want to control him. God is sovereign over all things. That hurricane that just hit Florida, God was sovereign. He knew that was going to happen. He knew that all the flooding was going to happen. He knew the deaths were going to happen. Does that make God evil? Of course not. It just makes him all knowing. Like, there's so many things that I could debate this dude over. Really. And I'm talking about Charlie because I've heard Charlie say some wild stuff, but we'll just focus on what he said to me in a video that it's like the only argument that I can lock down on that makes any sort of sense and any sort of way to argue against. Charlie said that the prodigal son parable was about fellowship and not about salvation, which it's very clearly about salvation because it ends with my son was dead and now he's alive. And when
he literally says so many verses aren't about salvation, like it's so crazy. These guys and their eternal rewards, it doesn't make sense. They say people can't work their way into heaven, which is true, but they say because it'll make people better than other people. So rewards won't? Like, I just don't get it.
Jesus is talking about death. He's talking about hell, sin, death. Like you die and you go to hell in your sins. And made alive means made new, made alive in Christ, made alive in him. You get it? It's not hard to understand. I don't understand why people make it a big deal. With that being said, Charlie, you will make these giant claims and then never give any proof for a single one of them ever at all. You can't explain to me, again, I feel like a broken record. You can't explain to me anything that I believe. Somehow you claim to have a wife. She's in another country. That's important when you claim to be a Christian figure. I'm very open about my life and I don't care what people think. I know who my God is and I know who Jesus is and I know what's right and I know what's wrong. And sometimes you don't have the ability to write things now because we live in such a world of.
Yeah, why say you're married and have a wife if you're not married and she's in a whole different country? That's crazy.
Instant gratification. People don't want to go through struggles. My whole life has been a struggle. So bring on the struggle. You see what I'm saying? But Charlie, that's a whole other thing. Charlie, you need to prove something before anybody ever debates you again. I really think you need to start proving, like making videos talking about points that we're talking about. I told you I would debate you on the 5 points of Calvinism. I asked you to explain to me what Reformed theology is so I can understand that you understand. I want you to admit, openly. I don't care if you did a video on it 2 years ago or whatever. Do it openly now. You know what I mean? Like that matters. If you're using quote promotions, which is they go to a website and they pay for subs with their card and then they, get the subs on their channel, like your views don't reflect your sub count.
Well, yeah, now his wife is supposedly having AI write her rebuttals. It's insane.
So that makes you a fraud. If you have to buy your audience, that makes you a snake oil salesman. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, there's truth to that for sure.
Other people did. Snake oil salesman. If anybody ever played Red Dead Redemption 2, remember the guy that you
Like I said, I don't care about subs and all that. I'm never monetizing my channel, so I really don't care about having millions of subs and all that. Whoever sees it, and I'm cool with that. If it's 5 people or 100 people or 1 million.
have to go capture. I think I've said this before in the beginning of the game, and he was selling medical tonic, remember? And then he fell in a river, and you had to go get him, or unless you saved him. But point being, you're not selling anything that's good. Paul tells us, Timothy, I think it's in Timothy, that reject people like you that preach any other gospel. Even if an angel from heaven comes to you with any other gospel besides the one you've been given, let him be anathema, let him be accursed. So, Charlie, what are we gonna do here, bro? What are we gonna do?
Yeah, and that's why, guys, when I do make exposed videos from time to time, that's exactly why. Just to wake a few people up who are lost and believe in these people. That's literally the only reason I do them. I don't even like doing them, but sometimes you just got to do it.
Dude, there, bro. I think maybe you need to admit that you have no idea what you're doing. Maybe go get a job. You say you work during the weekdays, but I don't know how that happens when you're up here making all these shorts and stuff and posts every day. I'm off the next 2 days. So now I get to focus. It is 6:04 a.m. Okay. I haven't gone to bed yet. I can't sleep. So I figured I'd make a quick video about you. This is very quick, raw. There's going to be really no editing. Maybe a subscribe thing at the end, and maybe a little baby intro in the beginning, and me talking. And if anybody hears this that agrees with me or has come across Charlie and he just wants to instantly debate you, I guess that could be the last thing we talk about, because I don't want to make this video very long. Charlie, as soon as somebody mentioned it's free grace, the guy in my comments, I forget his name now, Bible something, podcast something.
That's my buddy Jared, Bible Talk Podcast. That's funny.
He even said that he mentioned somebody, he mentioned free grace, and as soon as you seen a new video pop up, it's like you jumped on like a hyena jumping on a carcass. That doesn't make you a teacher. That doesn't make you a debater. That makes you...
Yeah, old Charlie, you don't seem to want to mention me though, buddy, do you? I wonder why.
a weirdo. That makes you like a Leighton Flowers. Okay. And the last thing I'll say is for you and every other Durka. Okay. Try not to use that word, but you're a Durka. You and every other Durka and Free Grace. You guys got to understand something. We're not Catholic. Okay. I'm not. I'm Reformed. I'm literally the fundamental opposite of a Roman Catholic. I am the Catholics' garlic if they were vampires. They hate us. Look up the Reformation, maybe. Look up Martin Luther.
I don't think Catholics hate. I don't think Catholics hate them. Maybe like the top, like cardinals and bishops and popes and stuff at the top, but the average Catholic doesn't hate Protestants or nothing like that. I don't think that's true at all.
Okay, maybe look him up, the German reformer. Maybe look up John Hus, the guy, 100 years before him.
Maybe back in the day when it was first happening, yeah, probably I could see that happening. But nowadays, I just don't. I don't see that.
Maybe look up John Calvin. Maybe look up William Tyndale. Maybe look up anything about church history. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, I love that stuff. I love text.
Yeah, maybe like the video I did, Charles, on the early church fathers. And I went through the list, basically showing how it's impossible there was no free grace taught back then. I'd probably start back then.
Criticism. I love archaeological things like Expedition Bible channel here on YouTube. Go check him out. It's amazing. He finds things like where King David was buried and stuff like crazy. Okay. Babylon. He found the Tower of Babel or the Tower of Babel. He found the foundations of it in Babylon. Like, good channel. Anyways, a little quick. Nobody's paying me, by the way. But you don't know what you're talking about, Charlie. Just like Unfriendly Hood has no clue what he's... Listen, at least you try to be I guess, studious about your stuff.
Yeah, speaking of Hood, I watched one of his lives the other night. It was one of the most disgusting lives. Literally in a 5-minute span, he said the F curse word probably 20, 25 times. It was just a horrible live stream.
Of Unfriendly Hood
And then he didn't post it because obviously he cussed way too much.
be like, he just goes crazy. He'd be like, listen, you want to quit sinning?
But yeah, Charles, like I was saying, go back to like Justin Martyr and the early church people and show us where free grace was back then, please.
Free grace theology
Since you're such a theologian.
helps you quit sinning. And then you could like eat watermelon naked.
I mean, it literally took me a 10-minute search to prove that free grace was not there. It's not rocket science.
And not feel bad because God loves you. Like that's how insane he is. At least you don't do that. But you're getting to that point. So unless you can prove to me.
He said, praise I am, said they're neither Protestant nor Catholic. I think Charles will say the same. Well, then what are they?
Charlie, that you even understand my position, Reformed theology, Calvinist, 5 points, tulip. I'm trying to give you all the keywords. Then why would I ever talk to you about some cult that was created in 1830 by a man named Zane C. Hodges?
And then named in 1920.
Okay. 18 at Dallas Seminary. He was kicked out of Dallas Seminary for it. Okay. They rebuke him for it. Dallas Seminary. Free grace churches. There's no denominations. If there is, it's very, very small with like 4 churches or something crazy. You see what I'm saying? Like it's not a real thing. Okay. Even Arminians.
Yeah, Charles, that's when you went quiet when I posted that old clip years ago of you saying exactly what he said and that they didn't name it until 1920. That's exactly when you quit responding to me and stuff and then blocked me.
Look at you guys like you're crazy because they have a rich.
I'm the type of person, I got the patience. I'll sit there for hours and go through old videos for hours.
Background church history wise to connect them back to the Bible. The difference between free grace and us, and this is the last thing I'll say, the difference between us Reformed or even Arminians.
Hey, let me call you right back in a couple minutes. All right.
Wesleyan Arminian, we agree about the fundamentals. You completely destroy the Bible. You say things that don't make no sense. You'll say that you only have to believe.
There's like 20 seconds left in this, and then I'll get to your comment.
Believe in Jesus to be saved, but then Unfriendly Hood will tell you that even if you went and
I've heard you, Hood, all the free gracers say you can believe in Jesus for a millisecond, go worship Satan, do whatever you want, and still be saved. I've heard every one of you say it out of your own mouths. Literally, you can believe in him for a fraction of a second. That is so wicked.
And start living a really bad life. He's not saying you should, but if you did, you're still saved. And then you say that he's wrong, and then Jack Smacks 77, which is another weirdo on the internet that does free grace, says you're wrong. None of you guys agree on anything. The most that
and that's what's crazy. Why does free grace attack each other so much? You guys ever notice that? Especially like Toronto Bible Study. That's all he does is attack other free gracers. It's so weird.
Reformed individuals would disagree on is like baptism, but that's it.
Literally, You got free grace channels literally calling other free grace channels wicked and unsaved heretics, and it's so insane. Like it's really insane.
All right. Well, you have a good one, guys.
But yeah. All right. Oh, we're at 2 hours. All right. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and end it there, Stefan. I got a few things to take care of, and I got to call my buddy back. Oh, yeah. Every time I mention the Reformers and Praise channel, he loses his marbles. Yeah, I bet. That's another wicked channel. I've told this before, but it's probably been 6 months now. I was watching a live on his channel with Fuego and Hood were on there. It was literally one of the most demonic lives I've ever seen in my life. It was insane. Like halfway through, this video pops up, and it's like some yoga-looking guru dude in some weird pose, like squeaking like a dolphin. It was so weird. And he does it for like 30 seconds, and then he looks up and says, "Thank you for sharing your energy with me tonight." It was, when I say it was one of the most evil, wicked streams I've ever seen, it blew my mind. I was like, what am I watching right now? It was just weird. But yeah, you take care too, Stefan. Either join my Discord and write me a message there, or post a comment if you decide which one of those two you want me to cover tomorrow. And if I don't hear from you, I'll just pick one and we'll cover one, and then I guess one the next day or something. But all right, guys, God bless. Remember, put your faith in Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Keep your faith in him. You cannot go live your life however you want, guys. You can't do whatever you want. That's one of the biggest lies ever. We have to repent and quit doing them. Do not listen to these free grace liars, guys. All right, guys, God bless. I'll catch you on the next one.